Well, hi there. Is that you, Samantha?
Yes, it is. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good. Thank you for taking some time today. I know you had reached out to our agency with some questions. Um,
Right.
but before we get into any of that, there's just some information that I want to go over as part of our checklist. So if you can give me a few minutes to go over some of our privacy, some of those details would be much appreciated.
Okay, great. Sounds
Great.
good.
Um, just so you know, you probably can't see what I'm displaying, but this meeting is locked, so no one else can join.
Okay,
So
great.
so if for some reason you do need someone else to join, just let me know and I can send them the information. Otherwise, the information I send is just for you.
Okay.
As far as I know from my agency, I'll be the only person on the call. Do you
Okay.
expect anyone else in your household to be there? Is there anyone who might be able to hear any of our conversation, or is it just you?
No, no, not at all. I actually, when you called and in advance of scheduling this meeting, I made sure to set it up at a time where I knew nobody would be around.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Um, So I did want to confirm that my name's Steve Ellis. I'm with Port Landing. So if I understand correctly, you reached out to our agency because you were looking for some rental assistance for
Yeah,
you and your household.
exactly. Yep.
Great. So just for purposes to make sure that this is the correct person who requested information from the agency, can you confirm your name and date of birth?
Sure. My name is Samantha Treadwell and my date of birth is March 1st, 1970.
Excellent. Well, great. It does sound like we are speaking to the right person on each side of this, so that's good to know. The last thing before we jump into it, there's going to be some follow-up that we're going to need to do. There's going to be
Okay.
some documentation and some other things. So I'm just going to ask for some verbal agreements, whether or not you agree or disagree. And what I'll do is I'm going to send all of this in writing to you.
Oh,
If
okay.
you agree to
Oh, so
that, for you
like
to
a
sign.
release of information.
Yeah, as part of that, correct.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah,
Um,
great.
so, so first, I just wanted to make sure, do you agree to this virtual session that we are having?
Yes,
Excellent.
I agree.
As for follow-up, is it all right to follow up via telephone?
Yes.
Great. I have your phone number from the information you submitted to the agency.
Great.
What about via email?
Yes, that's fine.
Great. Um, what I will also do when we are finished is I will email the email address that you submitted. That way you will have the confidential email address that comes directly to me
Great.
instead of emailing the agency as a whole.
Great.
And as I said, I'm going to put all of that in writing. I'm going to mail it to you for the address that you submitted. And so if you
Yep.
could just sign that and get that back so we have that in the file, that'd be great.
And when you send mail to me, it has like it doesn't identify, any services or.
Oh no, the return will just say Port Landing, right? So
Oh,
we offer
okay.
a number of resources. We use a
Great.
PO box, so that way, right, anyone who happens to grab your mail or the mailman can't see anything
Great.
besides who it is.
Cool.
But yeah, so when you get that, just so if I don't forget, if you get that and have any questions, go ahead and give the agency a call. Otherwise, if you could just sign it and return it so we can move forward. All right, so it sounds like from the information you submitted, you are interested in some rental assistance, correct?
Yeah, I am.
Great. Tell me a little bit about you and your family and what's going on.
Well, I am working, but recently my hours were reduced. So I'm happy that I'm, continuing working during the current pandemic. And I'm hoping to remain in my current unit, which is a 2-bedroom unit. I'm not sure if you have any, rent limitations, but I'm sure we'll get into that. So like I said, my hours have been reduced and I thought that I would apply for some rental assistance and, give you guys a call and see if I'm eligible and if I qualify. I
Great.
may want some additional case management, just because a lot of things are going on with COVID and I'm sure there are additional resources out there that I might be eligible for. So I think having a little bit of assistance in navigating that would be really helpful.
Well, of course. So what part of today's call is going to be is just to make sure you qualify for any of the activities that we offer. And if you do qualify, I do the rental assistance. So I'll
Okay.
follow up you directly with that. And assuming you do qualify, I'll go ahead and pass your information on to our case management
Oh,
supervisor,
great.
who will arrange another intake for you so that they can get you started on those services. But we can definitely do all of that in-house, which it will be super easier for you because you won't need to do a whole nother eligibility conversation, right? Because we'll prove that for all of it.
Right. And do our current releases, what we did verbally, cover that too?
All of the things that we just initially covered will. Now, there might be some information later on that will split, right? So, for example, assuming you qualify, maybe you just want the TBRA program, the rental assistance program to speak with your landlord, maybe not your case manager. So we can really fine tune those. But yes, since everything I just went over is for the agency as a whole.
Okay, great. Okay.
So you mentioned you have a 2-bedroom. Is it just you living there, or do you have any other additional family members?
No, I have 2 young children, both girls. And they actually prefer to share a room, and they're pretty close in age. They're only like 3 years apart.
If you don't mind me asking, how old?
They are 8 and 11.
Great.
I had to do the math real quick.
No problem. I'm sure with everything going on.
She's 11, right? Yeah, she was born. It all goes by so fast.
All right, so it's just you and your 2 children, ages 11 and 8.
Correct.
Great. So there are 2 basic eligibility criteria for our program, Samantha. One of which is HIV. So as you know, from one of the many programs we offer it, from some of the information you submitted, I do need to prove that you or one of your 2 daughters has a HIV diagnosis.
Okay. And that would be me. They do not.
Right.
And do you need like certain types of verification, or will we get into that?
Yeah, we can get into that right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so one of the things to prove that is I just need to have something in a file to be able to prove they have HIV. Whatever I have in the file needs to be fairly obvious that you have been diagnosed with HIV so that anyone who comes in can read that file and understand that you are eligible. So what I want to go through is a few options that maybe we can prove your eligibility now. And if not, then we can talk about some next steps to go ahead and move forward while we track down. So while I have you on the call, some of the options could be, I don't know if you have access to any electronic records, but potentially we can screen share and I could take a screenshot and print that out. If that's an option that you take, I'll make sure to delete the screen share because once I have it in my file, I no longer need the electronic version. We can also do a screenshot if you have any paper around. Maybe you have your diagnosis or HIV labs or something that you can show. Other than that, we can do a verbal release of information. I can contact your infectious disease doctor. You can send something through the mail. Whatever you're most comfortable with, it is your information. So I want to make sure you choose something that you're okay with.
Okay, all right. Well, I have some papers here. I was just collecting a bunch of information. Oh, right here. I have lab results. Is that something that would work? I'm not sure I can mail it, or do you want to?
Yeah, if you could show me now if you're comfortable, because at least then that way we can prove eligibility and we can send a copy so I have something.
And I could just follow up with a hard copy. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can.
Could you just hold it, put it a little further down? Excellent. I see your name. Perfect. If you could go back, hold it up a little higher again. And perfect. It shows a viral load of below 20, which works for verification. You're all good, Samantha.
Great.
So that will work. Congratulations on being undetectable.
Oh, thank you.
So at least for the rest of this conversation, I can assume eligibility. it would be great to get a copy of that. So I don't, if you either want to mail a copy in my follow-up email, the office is open a few hours each week. So you can call and schedule a quick appointment, come in, and someone can photocopy that if you'd, rather hand it off to someone.
Okay, yeah, because of, yeah, okay.
But that way, once we get that in the file, then we are set for all of your time with our agency for any activity that you were to apply for. So
Okay. Now, is that the only eligibility? Because I remember hearing something about income too.
you are correct.
Okay.
So beyond HIV, we do have to prove your entire household income.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So are you the only person who gets income in your household, or do your daughters have anything coming in?
Well, like I said, I'm working and my hours have been reduced. So I'm only working about 24 hours a week right now. I'm not sure if this isn't like an income type that you would include, but one of my daughters does receive a survivor benefit each month. So I wanted to mention that because I'm not sure exactly, what you would or would not include as income.
Yeah. So far it sounds like your income is yours for working.
Yep.
So we'll circle back to that in a moment. Thank you for bringing up the Social Security survivors benefit. That is something that we do need to look at
Okay, great.
as an income source. Is there anything else?
Well, I'm getting some SNAPs benefit, for food.
Oh, so food stamps?
Yeah.
Yeah, that we won't include for income.
Okay, great.
But the case manager will definitely go over that with you, right, to make sure you're receiving your maximum benefit, particularly while you need the assistance.
Right.
So besides the employment that you have in the Social Security, there's nothing else coming in, right? There's nothing on behalf of either your daughters. Do you have any regularly occurring financial gifts coming in? Is anyone who doesn't live
No,
with you sending money
I
regularly?
wish. No.
All right. Don't we
No.
all?
Yeah.
Excellent. So it sounds like then the only income for your household is your employment and then
Yeah.
your daughter's Social Security.
Well, we do, though, I do have like a checking and a savings account,
All
right,
right.
to pay my bills. I don't have too much in the savings account or the checking account. So I don't have any information in my stack of papers right here about it. So I don't know if you're going to need anything about that. And I did open, small little savings accounts, for the girls, and I put in some money. So I don't know what you need to do about that either.
Yeah. Do any of those accounts have an interest rate?
I think so, but
All right.
it's probably, pretty low, but yeah, especially the savings. I know the checking doesn't, but I'm sure the savings has, some amount of interest.
All right. So let's go through source by source. So for your employment income, do you happen to have access to pay stubs?
I do. I have a couple right here.
Oh, wonderful.
Yep.
How often do you get paid, Samantha?
Every other week.
All right.
Yeah, every other week.
Do you get paid twice a month or every other week? So where 2 times a year you actually get 3 paychecks in a month?
Yes, that one. Every other
Great.
week.
So you get paid bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly, yeah.
All right. Just wanted to make sure. Do you know how much you earn per hour?
Yes, I wish I earned more, but $12.50 right now.
$12.50. You said you're currently working 24 hours?
Yes, both paycheck stubs are showing, yeah, the past couple of weeks, most recent periods, I work 24 hours.
Excellent. Do you have any expectation of your hours or wage changing in the near future?
Not right now, no.
All right.
No, I haven't heard anything from my employer about that. And actually, some people have been laid off. So I'm lucky that they just reduced my hours. So maybe I'll be able to pick up some hours here or there, but I haven't heard anything definite about that.
All right. If that does change, please make sure to notify the program
Okay.
when that happens, at least for the time being. I think when you drop off your HIV verification or however you want to send that in, because once I send you an email, you can also, if you have access to those via email, you can send them.
Okay. Okay.
If you could send that once again, just so I have something in the file documenting everything that you've just told me for your employment income.
Okay.
As for your daughter's Social Security,
Yep.
do you have any documentation of that?
Yes. Right here.
Great.
Like you can see that when I say right here. Yes.
The document that you have, can you tell me how much does she make or receive?
$525 per month.
I'm going to rephrase that because I don't want to say Social Security make.
Right.
The document that you have in your hand, can you tell me how much your daughter receives?
Yes, $525 per month.
$525. Is that what she's supposed to receive, or is that what she actually receives?
Oh, wait,
Some
I'm
money's
sorry.
coming out.
No, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. She was getting 525, and then it changed in April to 550. Okay, that's right.
So as of April 2020, correct?
Yes,
All right.
yes, absolutely right. Yep.
Can you, if you're comfortable with that also, can you hold up that Social Security letter? I would have
Yep.
asked you for the pay stubs, but those tend to be way more complex for
Right.
us to review. And so
Yeah.
what you've told me is enough, but the Social Security would be great. Great. So I see your name. I see your daughter's name. I see the dates. I see them out. Oh, and I see where it changed.
Yeah.
Excellent.
You
All
see,
right.
it's to see initially, you think but then I remembered, yeah,
Yeah.
525, 550.
So the same for the HIV documentation. Even though I've seen it, if you can make sure we get a paper copy of that, that would be much appreciated.
Okay.
And so finally, you reported having some checking and savings accounts.
Yes.
Do you know roughly what the balance is in your checking account any given time?
Maybe right around 1,050.
Right. And you said you don't think it has an interest.
I'm sure it doesn't.
All right.
Checking account.
As for savings, did I understand that you and each one of your daughters has a savings account, or?
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
So there's
Yep.
3. Do you know how much is in each account at any sort of given time?
My account might roughly have about 1,000 in it also, and each of the girls have 400 in each of their accounts.
And you said you don't know the interest rate, but
I don't know.
it's
It's probably like 1%
all right.
or less, right around there.
Great. All right. And once again, those are the only income sources that you have, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Great. So I am not one to do math during these calls, so it does look as though that you will be eligible, but if it's all right with you, I will follow up in the future, probably first thing tomorrow morning,
Oh yeah,
after I
absolutely.
do the calculations,
Yeah.
because then once I can prove your eligibility, then we can go into some of the details for rental assistance.
Right. Yes.
We don't currently have a wait list, so we can jump right into the conversation around what that might look like, and then you can use it where you are.
I didn't expect that, a definite on my eligibility would be determined right during this call at
Yeah.
all.
But
Kind of
also,
looking and collecting things and then getting back to me. I totally understand that.
of course, but also knowing that you do need the assistance, I want to just, make sure
Yep.
that we'll follow up right away with that. But in the meantime, if you can make sure I will need some documentation about that checking and savings account.
Okay.
So
Yep.
if you do have anything around, that'd be great. Otherwise, if you need it, I can send a release of information. And
Okay.
if you send that back to me signed and dated, then I'll send something to the bank to verify the amount and the rate, because
Okay.
that will affect overall your eligibility. I'm going to look at these numbers and rest assured that it's not going to affect your initial eligibility for the program.
Okay. Now, if I can't get like a verification from the bank, can I self-certify like balances and like, you know, interest rate if it
Of
comes
course.
to? Okay.
Yeah, so one of the things that I'm going to do is, because so all the information we went over is going to be another thing that I'm going to mail to you, right? So
Oh,
I'll type it up. It's going to be on our port landing letterhead. And so if everything that we just covered is accurate for what you described, if you can sign and date that.
okay.
So at
Great.
least I'll have that in the file, and then we'll build upon that with
Okay.
everything that you have.
Okay.
And then just the sooner we get all those things, and the less we have to worry about it in the future.
Yep.
But so my homework is to do the eligibility. And just so we're clear, let me look at my calendar. Are you free at 10 a.m. tomorrow?
Let me take a look here. Okay. Yes.
Great.
Yes, I am working for a little bit, but not till the afternoon. So yeah, 10 a.m. is great.
Great. And will another Zoom call be okay, or will there be anyone else home?
No, that should be fine. Yeah.
Great. I will follow up with a new link for a Zoom call where we'll talk about your final eligibility and, like I said, go straight into TBRA eligibility.
Okay.
I'm also going to make your case management referral to the case management supervisor. So
Okay.
you'll hear from them soon. And then if you can, whenever you get a chance, as I mentioned, I do need your HIV verification for the file and all of those income sources that we've talked about. So,
Okay. So I could, because I do have a cell phone, so I could take a picture of it and I could mail these to you, right? I could
yeah,
take a picture of each of these documents and then email it to you.
yes, if you are comfortable doing so. Like I said,
I am.
I'll email you my confidential email address,
Yep.
right? So that way you know it will come right to me. You won't have to provide it for anyone else in the agency, because once it's
Okay.
my file, they can use it.
Okay.
But as part of that email, I'll follow up with a few options for how you can. So I said,
Oh,
particularly your HIV verification. If you're not comfortable taking a picture and sending that electronically, it will
okay.
include the office hours and how you schedule a session to come in and drop off that paperwork.
Okay, great.
Great. Is there anything else that you'd like to discuss today?
Not right now, no.
Great. The only other thing that I would ask you is, during tomorrow's call, since you mentioned you want to potentially use your rental assistance where you are, just take a walk through your unit and see if there's any issues with it, that maybe things you may not have noticed before or not been thoughtful of before. Because I'll definitely want to ask some questions tomorrow about your current unit, so we can see, if it meets some of our requirements or what those next steps might look like.
Okay. So you might have to take a look at it yourself?
Yeah,
Like,
at one point, yes.
okay, great. Okay.
Yeah, there are some financial considerations that we'll have to talk about for your current unit. And whether it's your unit or any future unit, we will do some sort of inspection, particularly
Okay,
since
great.
you're new to the program. Most likely it's going to be a Zoom call like we're doing now, but we can go over those details as it gets closer. But at least knowing if your current unit could meet that could shift our conversation, because we do have some requirements that units do need to meet for rental assistance to be used. And so if we know that your unit won't meet that, then we can talk about what that looks like for you to look for a new unit, potentially talk to your current landlord about you giving notice. And if we do think your unit will meet those, then we'll talk about how you lease up in place with our rental assistance.
Right. Okay. So you might do an inspection virtually. You wouldn't come here necessarily?
No, my guess is because this inspection will most likely occur sooner than later, just for safety's sake. We'll do a virtual. At some point, I will I will come in and do a physical inspection,
Right.
like
It's
many
great
other
that
programs.
that right now you're able to do something like that virtually.
Yeah, it's also because it seems like you definitely have the technology for allow that. So I said, we'll just do another Zoom call.
A few things that I invested in before my hours were cut.
And if there's any issues with those, we can also discuss that when the time comes to make sure that we can do those. So we'll definitely make sure that your place is safe before you start using rental assistance. All right, that's all I have for today. If you don't have anything else, it sounds like we will chat tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Okay, and if I think of anything, we can just discuss any of that tomorrow.
Yeah.
A lot of information to think about.
Of course, and like I said, I'll be sending that email momentarily with some follow-up. So if there's anything that you have a question about immediately, feel free to reply.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
All right, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay, great to meet you.
All right, nice to meet you also. Bye.